Welcome back, everybody. In the latest effort to prevent more tragedies like the deadly July floods, Texas is proposing raising the annual licensing fees for summer camp operators by thousands of dollars. You'll remember 27 campers and counselors died at Camp Mystic in Kerr County during this summer's floods. Here to tell us more about those proposed changes is Stephen Simpson with the Texas Tribune. Stephen has reported about this, and we appreciate you being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's start with what the Texas Department of State Health Services is putting forward. They put forward this new slate of rules that would go into effect next year. So what are some of the things that are included in that?
Well, one of the big changes is they're increasing the licensing fee for youth camps by thousands of dollars. And one of the second big changes, they're making changes to the council, which is going to include some new members and removing some of the camp leadership. But there is also some additional requirements for like broadband and things like that.
Okay, so that's just touching on some of those things. That council in particular, what's notable about that? Well,
this council kind of is they don't have any rule-making regulations, but they kind of do a lot of suggestions to the state, and they meet twice each year. This body has been mostly ran by camp leadership for many years now. This most recent change is going to put in a parent, a social worker or mental health provider, and someone that has additional experience in camp safety to this board, and removing 3 of those camp leadership positions.
Okay, interesting. We'll see how that gets implemented moving forward too. But when you talk about the increase in camp operating fees, how much more will camps presumably pay if all this goes forward?
Well, currently some of the licensing fees range from about $250 to around $750 for day camps, and then around $750 to $900 for some of the youth residential camps. This is expected to rise up to, for some day camps, up to $5,000 to $6,000, and some youth residential camps up to $21,000.
Okay, so this is a pretty significant change, and this all came because of the floods that happened in July. But what are supporters saying about these changes and why they're needed?
Well, one of the big things is that the Department of State and Human Health Services is kind of recreating the camp board. They're going to have more camp supervisors, they're going to have more people kind of regulating some of these things, and one of the things that do that, they need the money. And so they got to pretty much build up this agency from the ground up. So that's sort of what this is needed for.
Okay, so interesting. So what about the critics? I would understand that maybe camp operators are not too excited about some of these changes. So what's been the reaction there?
There's been a lot of initial shock to the system is kind of what I've heard, but there's a lot of understanding. They say they know this department has to get built up. What they're hopeful for is that this is only like a 2 to 3 year increase, and some of this comes back down, not some of this pass.
Okay, so this will be just the outset of some of these changes that are coming, but thank you so much for catching us up. You can read more about Stephen's reporting on the Texas Tribune's website. Stephen Simpson, thanks so much for being here. We appreciate it.
It's good.